thing. Whoop, whoop.
All right. It should be happening any minute.
There we go. We're live.
There we are. That's our intro music. Hey everybody, if you're out there watching us, I see we got a couple people on the stream. Thanks for joining. We're gonna have a fun little tasting tonight, and we're gonna cap it off with the drawing for our grand prize of the year. That's the Foregate Foundation Batch 5. 9-year, 9-month.
There you go.
Straight bourbon.
How fitting. How fitting.
Somewhat. Somewhat.
But we'll
tonight,
leave it to the people.
Tonight, let's start with what we're warming up with.
Yeah, man.
Tim, you sent the samples around, so you just tell us what your warm-up bottle is.
I'm starting with the WB Saffel. This is a tasty bottle, blend of 6, 8, 10, and 12-year-old non-chill filtered, 107 proof. Thought it was a great way to start out drinking some turkey, so I'm enjoying the heck out of it.
Wes, what you got?
Well, I would also keep it in the family.
There you go.
Also sampling the Saffel tonight.
All right. I have I figured we'd keep it in the family, but we'd go a little different direction with the rye. And I'd also do a Dusty. I bought this one back in about 2001 or 2, I think, when I bought my first house. That's about all I got left of it.
That's 101, right?
That is rye 101. Yes, it is. It might be 03. I honestly can't remember which year it was, but it was right around when I bought the house.
Nice. Man,
it's pretty darn good.
I'm excited for this. Across the board, I'm excited for it.
So while we're all warming up our palates, what's new with you guys? Oh, I have something new. Timothy and I and Matt from Modern Thirst. I don't know if you guys have been watching this. We're a little bit into hot sauce, spicy foods, and fun stuff. So we started Pepperheads on Modern Thirst, where we're going to talk a little bit about hot sauces.
Yes.
And, on our next video, probably early December, Timothy, Matt Gates, and me, we're all going to do the Packy One Chip Challenge live. So if you want to see some old man tears from this guy, Matt Gates is about a month older than me, and probably see Timothy run away with it. We'll do a challenge, and we'll be live, and we'll see who stays the longest without reaching for something to drink.
Yes. I have. No, go ahead, Wes. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
So who's leading the Twitter poll? I think you put out on who was going to reach.
I saw a vote for me and a vote for Tim. I voted for Tim.
I have 2 things here that came across my desk, and doing more research, one of them may kill me. This is either going to be just a taste or a challenge. I'm not sure on this one yet, but I have fermented Carolina Reaper pepper mash. That came in, and then this crazy challenge, and then reading more about it, I'm actually kind of scared to do this because this might kill me. There's 5 levels, and the hottest level is 13 million Scoville units. That will be officially the hottest thing that I've ever put up on my taste buds. So far, the hottest thing is 6 million that I did last week, and I'm a little terrified, but that's going to happen as well too. So
I feel like my hot sauce that I made is probably pushing that 6 million one.
Woo, okay.
I made about 300 milliliters of it, and it had 4 full seeds included Carolina Reapers.
Oh damn.
Yeah, so
I'm actually kind of terrified.
Habaneros.
I'm kind of terrified for that nut challenge, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I'm full on terrified. I'm just going to be sitting on the toilet for a week.
I will be watching
a week off.
I'll be watching with a glass of milk.
What do you got going on, Wes?
Off for life.
Hey, today was school shut down for Thanksgiving break, so on vacation, so a good Tuesday night.
Gotcha. Yeah, this is started my vacation through the weekend today. The kids have been homeschooled forever, so they're all off for the rest of the week now, both of them. So that's good stuff.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
So, Tim, what are we tasting today? Start us off here.
We're gonna do some vintage. We're gonna do some vintage Wild Turkey today. We're gonna start off with a modern day Wild Turkey 101. This is an early 2020 release. And then we're going to go into a 1985 Wild Turkey 101 8-year.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to move along to a 1992 Wild Turkey 8-year. And then just for fun, we're going to jump back to the 101 modern day and maybe jump around and see if we can pick out any similarities.
That sounds wonderful.
Yeah, it's going to be a blast.
Let me hit my palate with a little water first. You're going to need a lot of those for the one chip challenge, Tim.
There's a reason why they're sitting here.
My wife seems to think I'm just going to take it down and it's not going to faze me because I eat so much hot stuff. I try to explain to her that this is different.
See, I don't know. I'm on the fence because that hot sauce I did last week, that was challenging. I'll be completely honest. I had a bit of a hard time with it, but still I wrote it out and I felt like I was okay. I mean, I started drinking whiskey like towards the end, so I may be okay. I'm definitely going to suffer. Let's not play down. It's going to be fucking hot for sure, but I don't know. We'll see what happens.
We're still trying to recruit Wes's son to Pepperheads. Wes's son is a bit of a pepperhead himself, I do believe.
Yes, he is. I may see him around Thanksgiving, so I may chat with him about that some more.
Let's put this out there too. If you're watching right now, either the recast or currently live, and you want to go to Crazy Town with us, go onto. I guess you can go onto the Pocky website, or you can go onto Amazon. You can get it to. Where did you get yours from, Bill?
Got them from Amazon.
Okay, well there you go.
Straight from Pocky, so they were
there you go.
Free shipping.
You go to Pocky and get yourself one of the one chip challenge, and either record yourself or shoot some videos of yourself and tag us in it, and get wild and weird with us. It's gonna be a fun time.
I'll tell you what, we might if people email me beforehand, Bill at ModernThirst.com, and they want to do it with us and they can get the chip, I might send out a Zoom link and we can have a number of people doing this.
There you go. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Get a whole bunch of people to do it. So you want to get crazy with Modern Thirst? Send Bill an email, Bill at ModernThirst.com, and we'll get it going.
All right.
You guys want to jump into this?
Let's taste some turkey.
All right. Oh man.
So I've like Wes, I've nosed through these now since we've been online, just once, twice through them. The one thing I notice about the modern one is, to me, there's almost a hint of cardboard to it.
Oh yeah, it's got some earthy funkiness to it. It's
and I did not get that in the other two.
It's mild, but
yeah, it's not off-putting or anything.
Right. And the color is definitely on the lighter side too.
Yeah, that the 1985 one is significantly darker on what I'm looking at.
Definitely color, I would say, and for me, describing it as flatter on the nose. There's a lot more popping out on the 85 and the 92, almost like a floral caramel essence to those versus the 2020.
Man, there is a like a molasses character to this 1985. Just a really sweet, sticky.
Oh man,
brown sugar and molasses.
I get some green apple. I get some green apple and caramel. Not quite like a caramel apple pop, but
it's funny. I was just going to say that 1992 smells like a caramel apple to me. Straight up. Even with it rolled in.
Oh man. 92 has a way sweeter nose than any of them. Like that stands out the most. It's a sugar nose, straight up.
92 is, to me, is caramel dripped on cotton candy.
Sure. I mean, it's just
I
super
mean,
sweet. Man.
I'm just going to go ahead and say that probably the best bourbon I've ever had, and I've been fortunate enough to try it maybe 4, 5, 6 times. I don't know, tops. But mid to late 70s Wild Turkey, just straight up 101 Wild Turkey is crazy good. And I heard Friend Minnick say one time, he was having a discussion about vintage bourbons, and he was talking about mid to late 70s. And he said, I don't know what Jimmy was smoking back in the late 70s. I have a couple of guesses, but he and Eddie should try it again.
Yeah. Agreed.
Oh man, that 85 is real close to that mid 70s smell too. All right, I'm gonna get to the palate on the 20.
Yeah, man, let's go for it.
I'm getting a little bit of like a hint of licorice on it now, by the way, on the nose. Like black licorice jelly bean.
So Black Barn Bourbon has a very interesting insight. He says, the thing that would be interesting, if any of us know, is what sort of mix of barrels get used in Wild Turkey 101 versus the Wild Turkey expressions. Are there barrels that just continue onward and age more and become those other expressions? That's actually a really good question. I can speak a little bit on 2018's Wild Turkey 101. That actually got a blend of some extra age Wild Turkey. I think there was some 9-year or 9.5 year that went into the blend on that one. But overall, I don't really know. Do you guys know anything about that?
As I understand it, it's basically just kind of done on flavor profile. So they taste through, they take sample tasting from the warehouses every day, essentially. And they have a crew, and including Eddie and probably Jimmy still too, that they kind of taste through them. And anything that doesn't fit their profile is going to get blended in with something else. Anything that they think fits that Russell's profile or something really special might go in the Kentucky Spirit single barrel program, or just Kentucky Spirit. But by and large, I think it's just flavor profile. But I'm sure part of that has to do with them knowing that certain spots in certain warehouses, like that's my Russell's rack right there. That's going to be Russell's. No matter what happens, that's going to be Russell's. Don't touch it. So I'm guessing it's just a combination of them kind of going out there and tasting and see what really works towards their profile. And in the case of a couple of years ago when they had the extra age stuff in there, they probably just thought, it fit their profile essentially, and it just kind of made for a very good. So the one thing that's interesting with most of these, you can call them small batches if you want, but by and large, they're not trying to wow you. They're trying to fit their flavor profile. This is what we think Wild Turkey 101 tastes like. We're going to blend to that every time. Anything that's extra special is probably going to one of their premium bottlings.
Right. But you also had Long Branch at the time, and Long Branch goes after that 6, 7, and 8-year-old Wild Turkey, and which was kind of what was being blended into 101 prior to that. So I feel like that might have had something to do with it as well.
Yeah.
Definitely get the caramel on the 2020. I get a underlying nuttiness almost with that one.
Yeah, right.
I get some nuts on it, and back to that cardboard note. And I'm not meaning that is usually when you say that it's a really negative connotation, but I'm not saying that it's overwhelming, but I get a little bit of that at the end of that 2020.
I get that as well. I kind of get pecans, like salted pecans as the undertone on that, along with the caramel. And I still get just a little hint of an anise or a black licorice or something like that with that as well. Currant, maybe. Currant, whatever you call it.
Definitely a little spice on the end.
A little baking spice on the end for sure.
Maybe even like a poppy seed kind of flavor to it.
It's weird because it finishes kind of bitter and a little tannic, but not unpleasant. It just kind of gets dry right there at the end.
think that bitterness to me is kind of like what I was smelling is sort of cardboard on the nose.
Yeah. But it finishes
fine.
really dry.
I think this drink's like every Wild Turkey 101 basically does, which I think is a quality whiskey, especially for the price.
Oh my God.
I really don't have any complaints about it at all. It doesn't wow me, but by the same token, it's a good whiskey and I'll never turn my nose up at it.
Sure.
It's better than most you'll find as a house bourbon, but it's priced like a lot of house bourbons.
Mm-hmm.
Would agree. Definitely medium finish on it. Nothing to wow you, but a solid bourbon.
Wow, the longer this sits in the glass, this 85, the more that orchard fruits like pear, maybe a little green apple, almost more like red apple at this point, but the more it just kind of jumps.
We're doing the 85 next.
Going to the 85. It's definitely getting more fruity for sure.
I feel like it's getting fruity, but that kind of brown sugar note is growing with it. Like it reminds me of kind of like an apple pie with like a cinnamon crust on top of it.
Red apple, pastry, molasses.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's a good nose. That's a real good nose.
I'm kind of getting like a yeasty, like bready note too. So it's kind of like cinnamon toast, but like, so weird to say this, but like day old cinnamon toast.
I don't know if I don't know if it's a national chain or not, but it's Homemade Ice Cream and Pie Kitchen out in Colorado West.
What is that?
Homemade Ice Cream and Pie Kitchen.
I don't think so.
I know it's a chain, but we had them here in Louisville. I know the one near me in Middletown closed recently, but they have this apple pie. And it has this almost a graham cracker crust, but it has a layer of caramel icing about that thick on top of it. It's ridiculous. I mean, you will get diabetes just from eating a piece. This is it. This is it in a glass. It makes you just want to take a knife and just scrape all that. It's like the same as their cupcake frosting. Just take it right off the top.
I could see that that vanilla icing on I get like a cinnamon raisin bread almost out of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Whew. Yeah, and this one's definitely darker than all three. I'm going in for a taste, boys.
Boy, I just did. That orchard fruit is front and center, front palate, mid palate. Huge. It reminds me of the a little bit of the Woodford wheat whiskey, which I think tastes like almost like a apple brandy.
Dude, this is fucking Thanksgiving dessert.
It really is. To me,
a glass, 100%.
To me, if you were to hand somebody that and say, and not tell them, but just say that this is a bourbon barrel aged apple brandy, you could fool some people.
God. And then at the very end, you get a nice, like, creamy vanilla finish.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love this so much. This is amazing.
On the front of the palate, front of the tongue on that, I could almost swear it's finished in something.
Yes, totally.
Some kind of finishing.
It tastes like it's finished in a brandy barrel. I can't get away from apple brandy on this. If you've had the Woodford Expressions and the Bardstown Bourbon Company that are finished in those barrels from Copper and Kings, that's almost the note you get. It's not so much on the palate as it is your mouth feel, just like a. Oh, that's fantastic, Tim.
It's so thick and chewy.
It's like syrup. It's like apple brandy syrup.
Damn it. Why do I do this to myself?
I want to drink that. I want to drink that on at a family Christmas party once everyone's done and you're just sitting around chatting. I want to sit around and drink that with a smoking jacket on.
That's the good night dram right there.
I want to be the old guy who wears his tie around the house with the cardigan on, with a fire going, and just sitting down by the fire with the wife and sipping this thing.
Go back to your 2020 glass. If you have a glass, you had that in, and smell it now. What do you get?
Oh,
huh?
Icing, vanilla, like cake, wedding cake icing.
Yeah, and I get a little bit of cinnamon and some nuttiness again on the 2020.
Tim, are you making a mess over there? What's going on?
I did not take my Claritin today, so my allergies, this great Kentucky weather is kicking my ass right now. Okay, so this is more, I get more confectioner sugar, but it's definitely sweeter. Like, yeah, it's not quite icing for me, but definitely confectioner sugar.
All right. I'm going into 92.
Let's go. Oh my God.
Woo, that turned.
Yeah, it did. It changed.
That's a dark sweetness. Get like
Blackstrap molasses.
blackstrap molasses, but there's a red fruit under it, like a black
Raspberry.
cherry almost. Wow.
We get raspberry.
It's definitely like a red sweet fruit. I can't.
Almost, to me, it's like a dark plum.
Plum, I can see a plum. Even a
There you
prune.
go. That's what it is. It's a plum.
Now that you say that, I'm thinking Welch's grape juice with a lot of sweetener. Oh, boy, I like the nose on this one too. All right, here we go.
Like the nose, but to me, the palate on the 85 blows it away.
The palate's better on the 85. Palate beats it on the 85, beats it all. This finish is a little more earthy than the 85 does.
To me, it's the shortest finish.
It's super quick.
It's the shortest finish of the three, the 92.
We're back to the that almost cardboard bitter on the finish for me.
Very flat on the palate, very quick finishing.
It's like flat cola.
You know what's interesting with it though is like on the 85, I got all that orchard fruit on the front and the mid palate, and then it developed the kind of the dark cinnamon and spice on the back. Kind of the same developing palate on the 2020. This one is all one flavor across the entire palate all at once, which some people would call that balanced, and I call it a little one-dimensional. Like I want flavors to develop a little bit more.
The nose is definitely the best part on the 92, but jumping on what Tim said, to me, it's almost like a flat Dr. Pepper.
So on the 92 by itself, if you don't have any of this other jazz going, I like it. But in this lineup, it's my least favorite. Like I would actually pick Modern Day Turkey over this.
I would too. I actually would pick my Dusty Rye over this significantly. I think my biggest complaint is that the lack of finish it's just not a very complex sip. It's a one-hit wonder here.
It's like going over a hill on a country road. You go whoop, whoop, and it's just that's it. There's
I'm going back to 85 and then back to that.
nothing. There's not a whole lot to it. That 85 is just stupid good, man. Just still apples, just apples and cinnamon and sugar and vanilla, and it's a little what is that, little pastry, like a little pastry
It's fall in a
pastry dough.
glass.
Man,
I would go 85 Saffel 2020 92.
okay.
I would go 85 Dusty Rye 2020 92. This Dusty Rye is pretty good for a rye. I think it's a little, by and large, if they're similar age, if they're similar proof and everything, I think rye's, it's very difficult for a rye to stand up to a bourbon because it's very thin on the, rye's thinner on the palate than anything that's really corn based. So you have to have significant age or proof difference for a rye for me to really beat a bourbon, because I love that thick kind of creamy mouthful. mouthfeel. Can I edit that out? Are we live?
Fortunately. Man,
I am, you know, what's funny is I'm sipping on the rye now. And the notes that are coming out of this are insane. Tangerines,
I'm jealous of that rye.
orange.
All the times that I've been over there, never knew about that bottle.
This is a creamsicle. Wow, it's right there with the 85. It's got a little bit of a flat finish. And the 85 does not, so it's way out ahead based on that. But wow. Yeah, this 1985 is pretty special.
Somebody asked what the dusty rye is that you have.
This is it's somewhere from 01 to 03. I bought this, it's a 101. I bought it when I bought my first house, which was in late 01, early 2002, maybe. I was basically stocking my bar for the first time, and I wanted a rye, so I just grabbed it off the shelf.
There you go.
I actually remember buying it. I used to buy the Pappy stuff back then, and it was $60 for the 20, $63.99. And I actually was stocking my bar, and I had a bottle of the Pappy 20. We worked right behind the liquor barn that was at Springhurst in Louisville. Our offices were right behind it in a kind of a big office building. And my buddies we would always tell each other when the Van Winkles came out, because from college, I went to University of Kentucky, and everybody drank bourbon. You didn't drink really special bourbon. To us, Woodford was special bourbon, or Makers. But for whatever reason, I'd find out about this Pappy Van Winkle. And so I was buying it back then. I specifically remember my buddy said, "Hey man, the Van Winkles are on the shelf over there." You didn't have to rush because they were going to be there for months. No one bought $63 bourbon at the time. But I ran out and bought it. And Black Barnes asking, do you plan on saving that bottle? Do you still have that juice? By happenstance, purely happenstance. I actually didn't open it for years and years and years. I probably only opened it about, I don't know, maybe 6 years ago or so. And by then I already knew that they had changed their flavor profile. So I've just been drinking it sparingly since then. And I've never really been a huge rye guy, so it was never a go-to. And by the time I realized that I had something interesting, I wanted to be sparing with it.
Right.
And I still have some of the original Van Winkles I bought. I don't have any full bottles, but I have some samples of them from back around the same time frame, 01 to 03.
Do you have any of your original Van Winkles from then?
Samples. I have the bottle for a 2001 Pappy 20 year and an See, my wife, when we first started dating, bought me a Pappy Van Winkle. It was a 15 year, and we've been together for 14 years. So somewhere in there, I've got that bottle with just that much left in it, and probably that much more in a like a 350 milliliter that I was saving from a really old one. And I've got an old one of the old 12-year lot Bs. That's probably half full that's definitely 2001.
That's awesome.
I started buying those in 2001. I know the year specifically because it was my first bonus when I got back from training for Payne Weber.
Go back and try that modern day turkey again.
The nose on this gets better every time I smell it. Granted, I drank more between each smelling, so. So if you guys had one word to describe each of these, just one word, what would it be? Wes.
85, I would say amazing. 92, disappointing. And I say that because the nose is so good, but the rest of it is just such a drop off. So amazing on the 85, disappointing on 92. And the 2020, I would say solid or average.
85, one word, captivating. 92, mediocre. Modern, got to go with average too. definitely just average.
Yeah, I think with the 85, mine would just be rich. It's just a rich bourbon, just layers and layers of flavor. 92, I'm going with Wes on disappointing. I just expected so much more. The nose is good.
Sure.
I just expected more. 2020, I'm going to go with solid but unspectacular. That's 3 words, but solid. It's fine. Fine. Fine's a good word for it. Fine.
Solid, average. And the thing to me, the biggest thing for me was the 92, the potential after nosing it, and then what it ended up being was the biggest surprise of the night, I think.
I agree with you.
So yeah, 1985, man.
Boom.
Gotta get our flux capacitors and
Yeah, go back.
I was
Go
trying
back.
to. I was trying to think of a good pop culture reference, and I was like, Bears? No, wait.
gotta go back, man. Take it to 88. Take it to 88.
Where's my
88
water?
miles per hour. What's up, Urban Lens? Welcome.
To me, the Saffel is kind of a blend of the 85 and the 2020.
Interesting.
You know, I don't think you're far off on that one, actually.
I get some elements of both of those. You get a very vibrant nose on the Saffel, a strong palate, a little bit of a drop at the end, but I think it's a nice mix of the two.
Now you're making me jealous. I wish I still had some. I literally just bought that 3-4 weeks ago, and we drank it last weekend.
I get so much just cinnamon on the Saffel.
It's definitely, I would say, a little bit more spicier than any of the other 3 on the palate.
That's what stands out the most to me on that one.
Very good. Well, we are halfway through. I think it's almost time to do our drawing. And then maybe we come back and finish off these sips and see if they've changed after
I'm
giving our
about it.
palates a break.
Yeah,
Does that
man.
sound good?
Sounds great.
All right. Everybody got your Modern Thirst collector's coin handy. Let's see here. I'm going to bring up random.org.
Shit, where did mine go?
Not eligible, but I have mine.
I know I'm not eligible. Damn it.
All right. I am going to random.org.
Right. Oh, there's mine. I found it.
All right. They have, I've got them randomly in here. I'm going to save this. I'm going to share this so that everyone can see it. If I can make this happen. Let me know. There you go. That's not what I want. Share screen. All right,
Can't
you
see
guys
your
let me know when you
screen,
can
man.
see this.
Oh. Started sharing the screen. There we go. I see you.
All right.
I don't see my
We're going
name
to do
on
it 3
there, man.
times.
I don't see my name on there.
You're not on there, Tim. You can't win. 2. So this next one is the winner, the number 1.
Here we go.
Lee Norby
Lee Norby
with coin number 75.
Nice.
I have Lee's email address and I have Lee's mailing address from where I ship the coin. I'm going to reach out to Lee. If you're on watching us now, feel free to comment. Otherwise, I'm going to reach out to you via email. I'm going to confirm your address before I send this thing because with COVID and everything, who knows?
Very true.
But you are going to get, my friend, this bottle.
Poor Daniel was number 2, 3, and 5.
I know. But Lee, you're going to get that sucker. I'm looking at the long screen. I can't even see what I'm
Batch
doing.
rod. There we go.
It's bottle number 574. Too much light. So I'm going to get that shipped to you. It'll probably be on Monday of this coming week. That was, in case you're wondering, that was probably our most popular batch so far. It is really, I wish we could talk more about it, but the distillate itself is really special. trust me on this. It's kind of the only one like it out there.
It definitely is like the
Batches
only
3
one
and
out there.
5 that we did were the same. Each one of those, they probably told between about 1,200 bottles between 2 batches. It's special stuff. You're really going to enjoy it. I promise. I promise. And you can't find them anymore. I can't find them anymore. I've been out looking for them and I can't find them. When Bobby, my partner, and I travel, we go down to Tennessee and people tell us that they have some batches that haven't sold, and it's never one of these. It drives me nuts. I'm always looking for them.
Apparently, you can still find it in Tennessee. I had a dude call me last week. Actually, he called me 2 weeks ago, and he was really interested in 4-Gate, and he wanted to learn more about it. We had probably like a 15-minute phone conversation, and he's like, I really want every single bottle. And I said, good luck. You are way too late in this game. He's like, well, what should I look out for? And I was like, batch 1, batch 3, and batch 5. He goes, those are the ones I'm missing. And I was like, yeah, those are the ones you're not going to find. And probably like a week or 2 later, he called me and said, hey, guess what, man? Went to Tennessee and I found 5 batch 3s, 3 batch 5s, and 6 batch 1s. And I was like, holy shit. So apparently it's still
Ironically,
possible.
I happen to know of a batch 1 in a raffle that's going on right now.
Ooh.
Here locally through one of the online Louisville-based bourbon groups, benefiting a really great charity called Frankie's Families. And Frankie is I actually know him because he during the day he does various odd jobs, and he helped build the deck on the back of my house at the start of COVID. Super nice guy, great guy. What he does most of the time, though, is he organizes a charity where he collects money to do Angel Tree every Christmas, and literally supports hundreds of angel tree families every year. It's kind of a full-time job, and he gets nothing for it other than the absolute pleasure of knowing that he's really helped someone's life every year. So check that out if you get a chance. It's Frankie's Family, I believe. Frankie's Families plural.org maybe. But there's a raffle in one of the local Facebook bourbon groups right now, and I donated a bottle of batch 1 for that. So that's on there. There's some significantly nice bottles on that, by the way. I'm just looking at it today. I don't see Lee in the chat, so he must not be on here, but I will send him an email first thing in the morning. So that's pretty awesome. Glad to be done with that. I'm gonna go taste some more here.
Yeah, man. Trying to get this link so I can post it in the chat. There we go. Yeah, so it's frankiesfamily.org. Posting it in the chat here. There you go. So go check that out. Give to a great cause and get yourself a bottle of batch 1. Probably one of the best batches. Minus 3 and 5. One of the best batches so far.
The more I taste batch 6, the more I like batch 6. It's tough to argue with that one.
I think batch 9 could probably give them a run for their money, though.
A lot of people are really saying that, and every time I've taken it out at a gathering, I have this case where I carry 6 bottles with me if I'm going to a bourbon party or something.
Sure.
It's generally the first one that disappears, which is interesting to me. It's a good whiskey, though. It's a really good whiskey.
I'm going to put you on the spot here for a second, if that's okay.
All right.
So there's a rumor going around that you're doing a PX Sherry bourbon. Is this true?
This is true.
Okay.
Maybe some rum involved with that as well. We love to. Can you tell us
a little bit more about that?
I'm going to guess there's some 12-year bourbon in some PX Sherry casks and probably some rum influence as well, some dark rum. We love that combination. It's done really well for us. And maybe you'll just get just PX Sherry. You never know. Bobby, my partner, he basically he spends all day scouring the planet for barrels, and networking and doing everything he can. And some of the things that he's found that we've got coming out is We found a company. Much of what he does, he simply does with along with Kelvin Cooper. So Kelvin essentially found some barrels and came to Bobby and asked if he'd be interested. And they are a pair of sherry and then tawny port, and they are phenomenal. I mean, they came over and they are soaking wet. I mean, I cannot begin to tell you how good these barrels smell. So we bought a bunch of those, and so you're going to see various expressions of that, both rye and bourbon.
Whew. Okay.
Those. We've also, Bobby has found some port rum barrels. So they were originally port and then rum, and they smell straight up like rum with a little bit of molasses. Tawny port with a little bit of molasses mixed in. Our next batch will be around Super Bowl, so around February. That's going to be a 7-year-old 95.5 rye aged in those port rum barrels. And I'm just going to tell you right now, it's my favorite whiskey we've done. Hands down. No comparison.
That has a special name too, right? If I remember correctly.
Ruby Port Rye.
Ruby Port Rye. There you go.
Yeah. So we have a lot of things. I mean, you can go out to the TTB's public website, Cola's online, and find a lot of the stuff we've got going. We've got some stuff on there we're not using too. But sometimes it's kind of a hassle getting things approved. So if we think we're going to use it, we'll use it. But we might not. Who knows?
Yeah, that was my nerd coming out asking you about that.
We're working on a private barrel select program right now.
Get out. The single barrel snob in me is his ears are twitching.
It's happening. We already have somebody who we know is wants to take part. And we just got some new barrels that I think they're gonna love.
I sure as shit want to take part.
So one of our big questions is since we really specialize in barrel finishing, we'll have some single barrel picks that are literally just people want a barrel of bourbon or rye, and we're fine with that. But what do we do for a barrel finish selection? We don't know. How's that work? Don't know.
How about a barrel of honey? Can we get it?
Like I said, we're looking into a lot of things right now. We don't have any secured, but
all right.
So the TTP labels out there for the bourbon finished in Nesquik barrels is just to throw people off.
Yeah. And then there's the coffee barrels that I know Tim loves.
Fucking dick.
I've had
I saved you money on that.
You did. You actually did me a solid on that as well. I appreciate you.
Tim was looking into buying a bottle of Heaven Hill that was finished in a coffee barrel, and I had bought one at the distillery, and I just kind of
don't do it.
I was like, hey man, I'm gonna send you a sample of it because don't bid on that sucker. You don't want it. It tastes like an old coffee filter, like someone had coffee grind sitting in the coffee machine overnight and threw it in your cup.
It tastes the way a Keurig cup smells when you pull it out like a day later.
Exactly.
That's what it's like.
Yeah. I've had the Belle Meade finished in honey barrels. I've had the Spirit Hound out of Colorado, Lyons, Colorado. They do their single malt in a honey barrel.
That sounds wonderful.
That is really good. And I've also tasted Stranahan's has done. I got actually tasted at their last cast thief, their Stranahan's in maple syrup barrels.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Now I've been lately, I'm trying not to buy bourbon. It's not working for me. I keep buying more of it and I shouldn't. I got some of the Armagnac, 27 years old, from a local group, did a barrel pick of that, imported 2 barrels.
The one that I couldn't figure out how to open. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, I had to take a knife to that sucker.
So did I.
And then
I cut right through it.
I did. I've been buying some scotch lately too. So I've restocked on my regular drinkers. I feel as I get into winter, I like scotch a lot. Got my Glengoyne 10. I got my Edderdour 10, which are my 2 kind of regular $50 bottles. Bought Aberlour Abuna finally. I bought Tomatin, the Quattro series. Bought that from your place there, Tim. the PX Cherry finished, or not finished, but aged. What's the other one I bought? I bought a peated one. I can't remember what it was. Oh, a new Lafroig 10-year cast strength.
Well, tomorrow you should both be getting some finished olive oil that we can taste for December.
Yes.
So yeah, for anyone watching live or on replay, we're trying to do these Tim and Wes and I are trying to do this about once a month, where we each pick some samples of whatever we really feel like are fun to taste. We're sending around to each other, and we're going to do this once a month. But between this and then, we're doing the one chip challenge. Let's not forget.
Oh yeah, let's definitely not forget about that.
AKA Sphincter Blow 2020.
Do we have an official day on that yet?
No, but it should probably be. I'm going to send them out. I'll probably do it Monday, the same time I send out this bottle to Lee. I'll probably mail those out to you guys, and we can try to get on it ASAP.
Nice.
I'm excited for it and really scared at the same time.
Yeah, that's kind of how I'm feeling.
I've actually looked online. It's like, of what can you do to minimize the pain like 3 days later? And they're like, hey, eat 30 minutes beforehand, eat a real dinner. Don't do it on an empty stomach, blah, blah, blah. Otherwise, they're basically just saying, hey, if you're dumb enough to do this shit, then live with it.
Just ride it out, ride that wave and have a good time.
It's an interesting way to ride that wave when, like, one of the things they warn about is having enough toilet paper for the next 3 or 4 days.
I don't think it's going to be that bad, man. Like, I don't think it's going to, I'm scared, but I don't think it's going to be that bad.
I'm a little nervous. I'm not going to lie. So I'm going back to the 92 and then the 85 because I want to save the best for last again.
So I was going to say, going back to these, I'm a huge fan of this modern day one after it's sat a little bit.
I killed that as soon as we did the drawing. I went right back to it. Oh, can I plug one more thing for Foregate? I hate to make this a Foregate.
Please.
So Foregate is we're sponsoring an exhibitor at Fred Minnick's Repeal Day Expo. It's a virtual event that I think Wes and Tim are both going to be able to attend as well. Yes. So this thing is really cool. I got a preview of how it works. The software is called Deggy World, DEGY. And you sign up, it has to be on a computer. It's not on a phone or an iPad or anything like that. It's kind of a big download. But when you get onto it, you create an avatar, and it's like being in a freaking video game where, hey, I have a beard. The only thing I can't do is make it as fat as me. But
so I'm out of luck on this one.
And you're on an island, and there's a bunch of exhibit halls. There's an exhibit hall. There's an arcade where you can go play old like Sega Genesis and Nintendo games. There's a beach with a stage where there's bands doing live streaming concerts and musicians. You can get on it's on an island. There's boats sitting around in the coast. You can jump on a boat and drive around the island if you really want to. Neatest thing I've seen. It's basically a way to do a trade show and festival virtually and have it actually feel like you're doing it. So the neat thing what's really neat about it is the way the interactions work. So you're in a room and there's 50 of you in a room. You can hear all these ambient conversations, and whichever way you turn, the conversations nearest you will get louder. Whichever you use your arrow keys on your keyboard, and if you walk closer to somebody, that conversation becomes louder and louder until it's just like being in a room. You hear all the voices around you. I turn it face this way, I can hear that way a little bit better, so I'm going to walk that way. I hear them the closer I get. When you're right next to somebody, it sounds like you guys are having a conversation. And they have all of these areas. Wild. They have all these areas they have these glowing lines around them. So around each exhibitor booth and around, if you want to sit down, you can have your guy sit down or gal sit down at the table. And if you're in that little glowing line around whatever area you're in, a couch or a table or just a gathering area, that's private conversation. So you could say, Tim, you could walk up to Wes and say, hey, Wes, what have you had to drink lately? And there's 10 people around you, and you say, well, it's too loud here. So just go sit down at this table. Only you two can hear each other if you're in that circle.
So cool.
Really neat little thing. It's basically an all-day trade show. But Foregate's going to be one of the sponsors, one of the exhibitors, I guess you would say. And then I'm going to be at 3:30 p.m. I'm going to be doing with Alan Bishop of French Lick Spirits. Why barrel finishing matters. And I think our batch 6 and one of his were Fred's two finalists for Barrel Finished Whiskey of the Year. So I'm very excited to do this. this little panel with them. It's like a
Yeah,
half an hour. Panel.
Unpretentious was second place to you guys.
Yeah, just really, I'm excited to do this with them, and I don't know if we're going to record it beforehand. We had planned to do it live, but after doing this little onboarding the other day, it kind of made it seem like if we record it, it'll work better because we can interact. Every recording is like a 20-second delay, but if we do it recorded, it can be playing in the background and we can interact with people who ask questions as the panel is playing. So
that's cool. Right on.
It just looks really neat. It's a neat idea. I'm very excited to see how it works. What a way to bring a bunch of bourbon people together. All of the VIP tickets
are
we
sold
sent out
out.
samples to, and there's actually there's little conference rooms, and every sponsor and exhibitor has their own conference room. So if one of those VIP tickets want to reach out to us and say, hey, I want you to walk me through a tasting of this, can you schedule a time at 4:15 p.m. to be in your conference room? Our little avatar walks up to the conference room, goes in there, shuts the door, and we do a private tasting with them. So really neat. I mean, every brand you can think of that you would want is in there, is doing it. So really cool chance to go and talk to people. You walk right up to a booth, talk to whoever's working there, and ask them any question you want. Ask about their whiskeys. There's still tickets available, so go buy them. It's repealdayexpo.com.
Nice.
Last plug. Done.
Done and done. So thoughts on going back and revisiting these?
85's wonderful.
Still the same rankings for me.
Without question.
Fresh pours for all of them, and I would still do 85, Saffel, 2020, 92.
I would say that 92 has, to me, become almost more watery the more I've had it.
It's lighter. Oh man, that finish is not my favorite.
I just took a sip of it, and for a second I thought, did I add water to that? Am I crazy?
It's not my favorite.
It's fine. If I drank it in a vacuum without anything else around it, I would think it's fine. You know, it's all right. I don't love it. It's an 84, 85, I think. 83, 84, maybe. Out of 100.
So I think for our previous tasting, when we did the Evan Williams, I think once we got on the palate, these started spreading themselves out much like the Evan Williams did.
Yeah. And
I think it was the middle year in that group that we liked the least also.
Yeah.
I think
it was the
oldest we liked the best. The newest was second.
No. The oldest we liked the least. It was also the lowest proof.
Okay.
But it was the oldest of them and the oldest in terms of age. It was 10-year. We really liked the middle-aged one, which was the 2001-ish Evan Williams Black Label 7-year.
Yeah, you're right.
And I'd like to taste that side by side with this 85 Wild Turkey, which, ironically, I could do if I really want to.
You know, it's amazing to me. I think the thing that I really wanted to do and why this was, why it was so quick to do this with turkey is you can have the same proof and change throughout the years. And even though essentially across the board you're the same thing as far as age and proof goes, they are just completely different. Also, I don't know if this has any play into it, but this is not your typical 92, okay? This is a March 6th, 1992. It's an Expo bottle, so
interesting.
It
could have spent some time on a ship getting hot, perhaps.
It's possible. So that's a Japanese bottle.
Yeah.
Versus the 85 is just,
So that could. Well, what's funny is usually when I have tasted a bottle that I know is oxidized, it's been either exposed to oxygen or heat, or extreme sunlight. Any of the three, it's really the oxygen and the heat, I think, that really do it. When I taste those, I almost get like a chalky mouthfeel to them.
Sure.
Which I did not get on this. It almost, to me, it tastes like there's particles floating in it when that's happened.
It's still it's still really
Really
clear,
clear.
though. Yeah, it's very
really
clear.
So yeah, so I didn't get the sense that this had spoiled, I guess you want to call it, or oxidized or anything like that.
Same
It
with the
looks pretty
85.
good.
I mean, the 85 is still, really clear as well.
They all look really good. I mean, yeah, I think that might just be what it tastes like. And it's interesting. I've had it explained to me before that a yeast strain has some kind of general characteristics, but if you think about what a yeast culture is, it's a microorganism that lives and dies in seconds. Each one of those little yeast particles lives a lifespan in like a tenth of a second. So what you have is kind of a really long, in the space of a few years, you have many generations of this yeast. So you have many years of, call it evolution. It's not really evolution so much as it is just changing through. Think of how different. You have a kid who looks a lot like his dad. The grandson might look a little bit like the grandfather. The great grandson, who knows? Yeast. Think about that over the course of 20 years, thousands of generations, millions of generations.
Right.
And that's why no matter what they do at Wild Turkey, what they make today, no matter what conditions they do it in, what they make today can't taste exactly like it did 10 years ago or 5 years ago or 2 years ago. So I just think it's really interesting. It's really interesting when you think about that.
That's one of the biggest it's one of the biggest descriptors of why vintage whiskey tastes so different than the stuff we're drinking today, and why can't the stuff today taste like the stuff of yesterday? And that, I mean, you nailed it right there. That the reason why is because of science.
I think I've become kind of a weird barrel head, I guess, over the last few years. If you ever looked at a stave from an old barrel versus a new one today?
Actually, no.
So if you find a barrel that was made in the 40s and 50s, or even back towards Prohibition, the grain on that oak, the old growth oak, is so tight. I mean, it's super tight. Today, it's not. It's if you think about the grain, if you do a cross cut on the grain, you can see the lines from the grain. They're very tight in old growth, and they're very loose in new growth. So despite the fact that we've been planting oak trees like absolutely crazy for the last 60 years, these cooperages have, it's not the same as when they were cutting down 100-year-old oak trees. Now they're cutting down 30-year-old oak trees, and the wood's different. It's just different. You're not going to get the exact same flavors out of that. You're not going to get the same. I don't know if it's sugar content. I don't know what it is, but yeah, it's different, and it's never going to. You're not going back to flavors that were 40 years ago. But I'm okay with that, because I honestly believe that some of the whiskey being put out today is the greatest whiskey of all time. It really is.
Wow. That is a statement.
It really
right
is.
there.
I mean,
That
some
is a
of them,
statement.
yeah, I'd love to go back and do 1970s Wild Turkey again, but don't tell me that some of the stuff that Buffalo Trace has put out in the last 10 years isn't some of their best stuff. It is some of their best stuff. A couple of years of George C. Stagg have been unbelievably good.
In revisiting these three, I would say the one that's improved the most, actually made the biggest change for me, is the 2020.
I agree.
I think it's actually gone up.
Yep.
I agree.
Absolutely.
I still love this 85. I saved that. I'm done with the other two, but I have got just a touch more of that 85 that I saved, and I've got plenty of my rye.
It got stupid sweet after sitting.
It's like my glass smells like I've had molasses sitting in it.
I tell you, the 92 on the nose smells like molasses.
I'm all out of 92.
Sweet.
See, I get more of a sharp and almost a sour note on my glass of the 92. Granted, it's empty, so. But this 85 is crazy. What are you guys on the live chat drinking tonight, by the way?
That's a great question. Anyone's still hanging out with us,
We
What are
got,
y'all
I
drinking?
don't know, 10 or 11, looks like 11.
Yeah. Man, that is not as great as it used to be. Huh. So I have a 1972 Wild Turkey decanter. This one's from New York, New York, before it switched over to Lawrenceburg. It switched over in mid to late 72. So that one's from New York, so it's all sourced. And it used to be one of my favorite Wild Turkey expressions, and maybe just this lineup right now, but this 85 is definitely beating it out for sure.
Brian's drinking that Wild Turkey Rare Breed Rye, which I really enjoyed, by the way.
Right?
Oh, that's one of the other things I picked up at that bottle drop the other day is Wild Turkey Decades.
Great bottle. Do you know if you got batch 1 or batch 2?
I believe it is batch. I don't know.
How do you tell?
It will say on the neck on the bottle, and I think it also says on the front of the box, if I remember correctly.
I don't even know where it is, so I'm not going to go hunting for it at the moment. Sure wish this Batch 5 Foundation bottle sitting right next to me was open, but I think that's...
Yeah, no, it doesn't say on the box. It says on the neck of the bottle.
Okay. I neglected a lot of those Master's Keep.
Batch 2, yeah, that's what I have. I have both of mine are batch 2s as well.
I neglected Master's Keep for a while, and recently have kind of realized what a stupid mistake that was. Once I bought the rye this past year, I thought, well, that was stupid. This rye's fan-fucking-tastic.
And the rye's not even the best thing they've ever done so far, as far as Master's Keeps goes. It's good,
so good,
but it's not the best thing they've done.
It's one of the better ryes of the last 5 years.
I'll agree with that statement.
I mean, Booker's rye was really special. I mean,
oh my God,
absurdly special.
That's the top rye I've ever had. That's
yeah.
That is the standard of what an excellent rye is.
Agreed. It's so special. I had a bottle of it and a media sample, and the bottle died when I bought it, I was like, well, I'm not going to drink this. I'm just going to drink this 4-ounce sample and be done. And as soon as that sample was gone, I said, nope, we're drinking.
Yeah, no joke.
I even thought for a while I was going to save it for special occasions, but I honestly think it lasted maybe 3 weeks. And every time someone came to my house, I was like, oh, you got to try this.
Yeah, same with mine.
It's so good. You can't stop drinking it once you start. That one was fantastic. Some of the old Scout, the original lineup of those, I've still got a 7-year back here. Got a sample my cousin-in-law gave me of one of the 8 years from the original, and that's MGP juice. So good, so amazing.
Do you by any chance offhand know the barrel number of your 7-year?
Not off the top of my head. No.
Okay, well, whenever you look, let me know, because there's one.
I had quite a few. I don't know what I have, like half a bottle of one left. I don't know which one.
I have a 7 and 10 year of the old Scout, and I threw the 7 in our Whiskey Club Advent calendar blind. Right. So the group's going to get to taste that.
I really should open that Decades for this tasting. I don't know why I didn't think about that.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna have some of this OG 17-year Master's Keep.
That's so good.
It's just a turkey train. That's what's happening now. We're just gonna.
I gotta be honest. I wonder, is it just because of the old reputation of being, the kicking chicken or what have you? Why doesn't Wild Turkey stuff move more? Their limited stuff.
Know what, man? That's a really great question, and I don't know. I will tell you this. So there's a lot of times when I get the question, they're like, "What's your favorite drink?" And I say, Wild Turkey. They go, "No, absolutely Wild Turkey all day long." Well, what kind? And I was like, if it's every day, I'm drinking 101. No questions asked. Oh, I don't like that. I used to drink it in college. Okay, well, do yourself a solid and go back and grab a bottle and revisit it. And I would say 9 times out of 10, they come back and they go, "Man, you were right. I've been neglecting on the Wild Turkey, and I'm a fan again." So that's what I'm going to say. Some of it is. I think some of it is that college stigma of drank the shit out of it when I was in school, and I may have overserved myself a few times, and it's just not what I want to drink anymore.
That Kentucky Spirit bottle you directed me to from Westport. That is quality.
Yeah, mine's empty. Mine's done. I need a
I'm
backup.
about halfway through a bottle, I think. About halfway through. It's really good.
I would say overall, if I could only drink one brand for the rest of my life, it would just be Wild Turkey. That's just what it comes down to. Is Wild Turkey does it for me on so many levels. There's my empty bottle. Does it for me on so many levels. It's so interesting to me of what you can do by literally having one mash bill for bourbon, one mash bill and one yeast strain, and you have all this variation across the board. Whether it be extra age or location or proof, because they have different proofs that they went into. It's interesting to me how much variation you have.
It's weird because one of my least favorite Wild Turkeys I've had was the Kentucky Spirit in the turkey, fan bottle that I got about 3 years ago. Tasted that, and they're single barrels, so it just was not up to par. And I have not bought another. I have not revisited it since that time.
That one, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it's weird, man. It's like I said, my favorite thing.
All right. So found my Spirit.
There you go.
Also recently, Westport.
Ooh, hold on. Is that Warehouse B44?
Yep. Really good.
Oh, that's the Oak Twix bar.
Let's see which one I have here. I don't remember. Well, it doesn't say what batch it is.
Should say on there.
On the label, right around the neck, it should say.
Master's Keep, Eddie Russell, 52% alcohol, 104 proof, non-chill filtered. Bottle number 48182, batch 1.
Oh, you son of a bitch.
Feeling pretty good about that now.
As you should. As you should.
Do a little Spirit.
So I guess kind of piggybacking off of what I just said, Wild Turkey being my Wild Turkey being my end-all go-to brand. I would drink it the rest of my life. Do you guys have a brand that you would drink for the rest of your life? I was about to say, and you can't say Foregate.
Heaven Hill.
That's true. That is. I should have known the answer to that one for you. Yeah, you're a Heaven Hill guy, and so am I.
An unabashed Heaven Hill fanboy.
I am too, but not like you are. You are.
That's my palate.
What about you, Wes?
And I stay away from some of their suit. Like I don't think I've had a good Parker's in years.
Bro, this year's Parker's is so good. You don't like it?
I did a video of that versus what were the 3 that I did? It was Parker's, Old Fitz, the Bottle and Bond this year, and was it a Larceny barrel proof or something? And it was a distant third. I mean, it was a hot
the Parker's mess. 10 heavy char.
Yeah, it was hot mess.
Gladly take yours off your hand.
Oh, I don't. That's too hard of a question, Timothy. I don't know if I could commit to one, but for me, as the world guy, I would have to go in the Scotch world, and I would have to narrow down to two distilleries. I would probably put Glendronach if I'm looking for sherry.
Okay.
I would be looking at the 15 or 18 or 21-year-old Glendronach.
Interesting.
And if I was looking for peat, I would go for Bruichladdich Octomores, just because they're so amazing and so different in their series. So those would be the two probably.
I like peated. What I've had the most, and I like them both, are both Ardbeg and Lefroy. I for a value play, I've been really impressed with Tomatin, whatever you call it. Just I've had probably now 6 or 7 different offerings, and they're fine. They're solid. They're good. I mean, they're not. Most of them aren't amazing, but they're good.
Did you crack that Abuna you bought?
Yes.
Recently?
I love Ardbeg.
That Abuna that's another.
The Aberlour, a lot
Aberlour,
of people.
Sorry, not Ardbeg.
Yeah, Aberlour. A lot of people will say that is a kind of an entry for someone who likes cask strength bourbons. That Aberlour is a good kind of segue into Scotch world if you like sherry at all.
That was what got me. So there would not be a 4-gate if you hadn't sent me a sample of Abuna, because it got me thinking about Scotch, and it's such a sherry bomb, right? And you think about bourbon. There's a huge variation in mash bills, but the flavors, there's not a huge variation in flavors. It is from here to here, high end, low end. With Scotch, there's roughly one mash bill, malted barley. But the flavors are like this because they use any type of barrel they want. They can put peat in it if they use peat if they want to. It is just the flavor variation with non-American whiskeys is so great because they're not restricted by the single new barrel. Now, I'm not faulting that. I don't think we should be using used barrels as our primary aging. It's not our thing. But barrel finishing, where that whole idea came from, and the whole idea of 4-gate was this huge variation that you can get in Scotland, you can get it in Ireland, you can get it in Taiwan, and all these emerging markets. Couldn't get it in the U.S. I couldn't get what I wanted in the U.S. So I just kind of wanted to show, hey, there's a whole world out there of what other barrels can do to whiskey that I want to introduce to the American market. And it was all because Wes sent, and there's a video on this, a Modern Thirst tasting, and I know Matt Gates was on it. And Aberlour Abuna was our favorite by far. And I remember thinking, if this is a sherried Scotch, I can be a Scotch guy. It was probably 3-4 years ago.
Yeah, it was early.
Wow.
That's what did it. So I'm still new to Scotch. I'm less than 4 years probably.
So in the samples you'll be getting, I think for December, we'll do a nice, you've got 7 samples. 2 is a 2-3-2 setup, and 2 of them are a peated finished whiskey that I think will be a good December winter dram. And what I'll probably have you do is, if you have a Scotch available, pull another, Scotch just as a comparison. It doesn't have to be finished, but these are peated. If you have a peated Scotch, pull that, and we'll do the 2 blinds that I sent you plus one other one, and do a tasting. I think you'll find it very interesting.
What do I have peated? I have Lefroy. I have the Anoa that I think you gave me.
Yep.
I think I have one more too. Ardbeg 10-year, I think.
What Lefroy do you have?
It's a 10-year cask strength, I think.
Use that one.
Okay. That's a good whiskey, by the way. I really like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good stuff. All right, so I'll have that one for it. And we'll schedule that for probably somewhat close to Christmas, kind of like this one was just before Thanksgiving. And that'll give us time for our sphincters to recover from the one-chip challenge. Hopefully recover some taste buds. Brian would go with Nika, Japanese whiskey.
Oh, wow.
I like some Nika. I'm going to admit it. The coffee, what is it? Coffee grain, is that what it's called?
Yes.
really good. The
Coffee grind and the coffee malt.
The coffee malt, yeah, and then there's the
From the barrel.
from the barrel is excellent, really good.
I just put out some from the barrel today. That is, I think overall, I would say Japanese malt. The Nika from a barrel is definitely, that's up there. I feel like that's kind of the standard for me when I think of Japanese malt. I think of Nika from the barrel. I've been lucky enough to have some special releases of some stuff. Had a Yamazaki 18-year special release that was probably the best Japanese malt I've ever had, period. But that's one of those like special off the cuff bottles. So don't try to talk about that one, but the memory is definitely there. But I would say readily available, delicious, out there. Nika from the barrel that's my standard for Japanese malt. I love that bottle so much.
What do you guys think of Irish whiskey? Because I just got Yellow Spot, Green Spot, and Redbreast 15, and I'm enjoying them, I have to admit.
The Yellow Spot is amazing. I love the Yellow Spot.
I actually traded for half a bottle of Yellow Spot. My neighbor and buddy bought it and didn't like it. Someone told me he had to buy it because it came in. And I traded him a bunch of stuff of mine that were open that I didn't like, bourbons.
I like Irish whiskeys. To me, they're much more delicate. They're much for people who are intro into whiskey. A lot of people will like Irish, but I really like some of the higher proof finished. The Yellow Spot is great. The Green Spot Montelena, which is finished in Zinfandel barrels. Some of those are just amazing.
I have kind of enjoyed the Redbreast 15, to be honest. I really didn't think I would, but it did. Thanks, Vic, by the way, if you're out there watching.
You need, if you like the Green and Yellow Spot, you need to do yourself a solid and go get yourself a bottle of the Red Spot.
Yep.
15-year. That thing, holy cow. That thing completely changed my mind of what I thought of Irish whiskey. Was not a huge fan of Irish whiskey. And then I got into the Red Spot and I was like, I've been doing it all wrong. I need to revisit
the one you got to find, Bill, the one I'm looking for is the Blue Spot. It's a 7-year-old. It is cast strength.
I'm in.
They will now have the entire range back, the blue, the green, the yellow, the red. So it's a 7-year finished in Madeira.
What are you saying right now?
Yes.
Madeira.
It is coming to the U.S. pretty soon. I think it's finished in some ex-bourbon Madeira and maybe something else, but it's getting some pretty positive reviews.
Oh, we try to get Madeira barrels.
I would say the best thing I've had so far from the Spot collection is they did a cast strength version that you could only get at the distillery, and it was cast strength Green Spot. Oh my God, that bottle was stupid good. Red Spot's a nice runner up, but you got my interest on this Blue Spot.
It's just released in Europe, coming to the U.S. shortly. For whoever mentioned Nika earlier, Nika coffee grain to me is the bridge for bourbon drinkers to Japanese whiskey. It is the bridge whiskey.
Agreed.
Well, fellas, we are running out of time. I don't want this to be like a 2-hour stream for people. So let's go ahead and end this live stream. And I want to thank everyone for listening. I want to congratulate Lee Norby. We'll be sending out your bottle to you. Thanks, everybody, for watching us. Thanks for hanging with us. For all you guys who are still in the chat, there's still like 14 of you in there after over an hour. So good job. Yeah, this was great. Thanks, Tim, for sending these out. That 85 Wild Turkey is something special. And Lee, if you're watching this, if you do watch this, once you crack this bottle, please let us know your thoughts. Come back to this video and comment, or go to the website, ModernThirst.com, comment there. Really want to hear what you think about it. But thanks you guys so much for everyone who bought challenge coins. Really appreciate it. It helps us do what we do. And we thank you guys. But keep on drinking. Have a great Thanksgiving. Have a great holiday season. Stay safe. Stay healthy. And cheers.
Cheers, dudes.
All right, we're off.